An accused mass murderer charged in the shooting deaths of 4 people is speaking out in his own defense. This is the first time we've heard from Austin Drummond.
Braydon, Adriana, and Cortney. They were Caitlin's family who became my family. I took Adriana to the hospital to have her baby. I helped teach Braydon to drive. I pushed him to do good in school. I paid Cortney's bills during hard times. Matthew was like a little brother to me. I tried to help him get clean off of the drugs. They were a part of the drug smuggling at Northwest before I ever met them, bringing in Suboxone strips to Brandon, Adriana, and Braydon's dad, member of Caitlin's family, who I love very dearly.
Is that to do with him wanting to speak to Caitlin, or?
Yeah, that's his girlfriend, and the restraining order is a blanket order restricting him from talking to basically anybody who's related to that family, and of course she is.
Okay, so there's been a major development in the case of 28-year-old Austin Drummond, who is the suspect in the quadruple homicide out of Dyer County, Tennessee. For the first time, a local reporter named Nick was able to get an exclusive interview with Austin from prison. Now, if you've been following this case on my channel, then you know that after a week-long manhunt, Austin was captured on August 1st, 2025 in Jackson, Tennessee, just 70 miles from where the crime scene allegedly occurred. Since then, Austin Drummond has become a household name across the nation, and not for the right reasons. See, the 4 people that he's accused of killing were not strangers. They were members of his girlfriend's family. Now, it's alleged that while his girlfriend was still working at a prison, Austin Drummond was there. He was serving more than a decade for an armed robbery that he had committed as a juvenile. And for the first time, you will get to hear from Austin about when him and his girlfriend relationship allegedly started. Now, keep in mind, previously, through the news, it was said, even from family members, that the girlfriend, Caitlin, wanted to be referred to as the ex-girlfriend. Well, Austin attorney is also going to make a statement, and he's going to say that she is his girlfriend. And while he's in court, they're going to try to get the judge to lift the restraining order because, according to Austin's attorney, it's too broad. Now, I do want you to listen to Austin's criminal history.
Austin Drummond had a criminal record that started back when he was 13 years old. Starting with shoplifting in 2009. Drummond was kicked out of Northside High School in 2011 after being arrested for attempted burglary. The report also says Drummond stole about $300 from a cash register at Kroger on University Parkway in Jackson, where he was an employee. That was one of several instances in 2012 when Drummond was 15. Finally, it says a judge placed him into state care in 2013, weeks before the robbery that sent him to prison for a decade.
So you just heard Austin Drummond's criminal history. I wanted to play that because Austin is going to speak about that in this recording. Now, keep in mind that the local reporter, Nick, was able to do an interview, but someone else was able to get the audio recording as well from the prison phone call, because as you know, it's public information. The DA, Danny Goodman, as I said, he has said he's aware of this recording, and he still believes that they have arrested the right one. And any further details, he's not inclined to speak about it at this time. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to like the video and drop a comment and let me know what are your thoughts about this as you're listening to the recording. Listen to this.
Access to... Is it going?
Yep, it's going.
All right, this is Austin Drummond. I would like to address the media who have been reporting on me and the current tragedy. I definitely did not handle the situation right by running, but I was afraid. The reason for my fear is the same reason for the tragedy, and that is because I am an undercover informant working alongside the Lake County District Attorney's Office, the FBI, the ATF, the Justice Department, and Tennessee Department of Corrections Contraband Interdiction Unit. I've been working with them since April to help bring down Vice Lord leadership, prison drug smugglers, dirty correctional, police, and probation and parole officers. This includes the deceased, Matthew Wilson, Adriana Williams, Braydon Williams, and Cortney Rose, all of whom were prison drug smugglers. I was informing on all of them. Please fact check me. Allow me to address my past. which the media also reported on. As a teenager, I partied too much, and it got me in trouble. I did not, however, have any affiliation with any gang. In 2011, the burglary that was reported on was just me and my friend who went on the roof of our school to smoke a blunt on Super Bowl Sunday before the game because we were bored. There's more, but all minor misdemeanor stuff until the gas station, which I robbed with a BB gun while blacked out on Xanax. To this day, I do not remember it. I was charged as an adult and given 10 years at 85%, after which I made comments about the jury that had no real intent, but I was given another 3 years. My total sentence was 13 years for crimes committed at the age of 16 and 17, where no one was hurt. I even cooperated at that time with an investigator, Kenneth Jones of the Jackson Police Department, and my lawyer, Joseph Howell, who was present to burn down drug dealers. This was supposed to keep me in juvenile court. They lied. Please remember to fact check me. So I entered the Tennessee prison system with no real street knowledge and no gang affiliation. The first 4 years were rough. I was victimized and used. The officers didn't care. They would put you in the hole for a week and then put you in another pod for another group of people to do the same thing. So after 4 years, I joined Vice Lord. These problems stopped and different problems arose. Towards the end of my sentence, I had managed to get away from the gang and was in the drug program. And Officer Voss at Northwest Correctional Complex made sexual advances, which I refused, and he got me kicked out and put back around the gang. CO Voss was later fired and charged for raping an inmate. Please fact check me. After being placed back around the gang, I was used to get contraband in. One day there was a major drug bust in the kitchen where stuff was found all over. I was blamed for everything. There are cameras all over, but the prison officials refused to allow me to see these videos because it would have incriminated them and exonerated me. This is one of my pending charges now. After this incident, I was placed on close custody levels for violent inmates. I was the only inmate there for a non-violent write-up. 1 month into being there, another vice lord threatened to stab me. Officers left the pod. I saw someone give him a knife, and he was putting on gloves, so I went on the offenses. This is where my attempted murder charge comes from. Everything I described is on camera. The incident was originally written up as just aggravated assault. I also was not indicted on this until 2 months after my release and 1 month after me and Caitlin started our relationship. That's correct. Contrary to what is being reported, me and Caitlin did not start any communication until 1 month after my release. The attempted murder occurred in August of 2023. I was released in September 2024 and indicted in November 2024. Me and Caitlin are both sure that I was only charged for it and that it was upgraded from aggravated assault to attempted murder in response to her quitting and dating me. Also, a couple of days before my release, I met with Assistant Warden Walton and Internal Affairs Logan Wilson, where I informed them of dirty officers and illicit activities inside the prison. They were supposed to help me with my pending charges from the contraband situation in the kitchen. They did not. Sergeant Cochran and Unit Manager Spillers both knew of this meeting that took place. Again, fact check everything. After my release, I was fully devoted to my family. I had no affiliation with vice lords on the streets. The only contact was with inmates from the prison. I could go on and welcome any interview and or questions regarding anything I may not have mentioned that is in question. I'll now get to what I'm sure you all want to know, and that is my time working with the FBI, ATF, and Justice Department. I began working in April with the assurance of help with my pending charges. I had recently found out my Caitlin was pregnant and could not go back to prison. By the way, they were trying to give me 31 years between all my charges associated with the prisons. While working with federal agents, I conducted drone drops and drug buys. Drone drops in the prisons were allowed to go as long as there was no meth or cocaine. Anything else was allowed to go through. We never dealt with fentanyl, period. Over time, this raised suspicions of the Vice Lord leadership, and I was told the clear rules of the Justice Department to keep the investigation rolling. Federal agents gave me a wink, wink, nudge, nudge on what they have to do if they have knowledge of it, in quotations, knowledge of it. So I'll leave that where it is because it will come into play of this tragedy. Now it's time for some dirt. CO Michael Caine at Northwest Correctional Complex is friends of the DA in Lake County and is heard on a recorded call talking inside of the cell of the leader of the Vice Lords in Tennessee. On his cell phone, the inmate's cell phone, Federal agents have also heard hits put out and allowed inmates to be assaulted over recorded calls. This is the truth. It'll take some digging because they're trying to hide it. But again, fact check me. Now allow me to dive into the relationship with Matthew, Braydon, Adriana, and Cortney. They were Caitlin's family who became my family. I took Adriana to the hospital to have her baby. I helped teach Braydon to drive. I pushed him to do good in school. I paid Cortney's bills during hard times. Matthew was like a little brother to me. I tried to help him get clean off of the drugs. They were a part of the drug smuggling in Northwest before I ever met them, bringing in Suboxone strips to Brandon, Adriana, and Braydon's dad, member of Caitlin's family, who I love very dearly. And I'm sorry to bring them into this, but Bria Ashley Childress warned me early on about Cortney to keep my distance. She even said someday she might try to set me up. They also saw Matthew with an ARP at one time a while back. That will play into this case as well. An ARP is the type of weapon that the news reported I was allegedly carrying in all camo. Although Matthew, Cortney, Braydon, and Adriana were family, the feds were clear I had to give everyone up. That included them. I hated doing it, but I had Caitlin, our daughter, our son on the way, and two disabled parents I had to be there for. I chose them, and I would do it again. I can't go into much detail, but I lost the phone that had correspondence between myself and federal agents when I was around Braydon and Cortney, Matthew, and Adriana. Matthew also had an uncle that worked TDOC for 20 years. I don't know how, but they found out I was an informant. I'll leave that there for now, too. Fast forward to after my arrest, somehow people and investigators have gotten the idea that the gang I was an informant against ordered me to do this unthinkable act, which is not true. I have offered to take a polygraph, whether or not I was told, threatened, forced, or asked to do this by anyone or group, because I was not. They didn't allow that, because if that's not the case, then what is the motive of a federal informant to go and plan to kill 4 people? Also, during my few weeks of incarceration, I was only allowed to see my lawyer over a Zoom call where we couldn't clearly understand each other, and he was unaware I did not want to waive my 14-day rule, and I'm eager to have my preliminary hearing. Also, during my court case, correctional officers went into my cell and took my legal papers to and from my lawyer. I have been restricted phone access, denied what all other inmates have, tablets and TV time, and mocked as dead men walking, and told that I might as well kill myself. I implore investigative reporters to take this information.
You have 3 minutes remaining on this call.
I implore investigative reporters to take this information and seek the truth. I am not an innocent man, but I am not guilty of what I'm charged with. I accept any questions and interviews. I look forward to them and my trial. I'm not suicidal. Also, I am in good health.
So you just heard Austin Drummond. Now, according to him and Caitlin became involved after he was incarcerated, which is different than what Caitlin, the father of her child, previously came forth and said. He also said that he was a confidential informant and he was working with officials and his cover was blown. Now, there is comments that are going around, and what someone said is, just reading the comments on all these posts, I can see Austin Drummond definitely has created doubt in so many minds. He may get a decent jury trial. Facts. Baby was left, baby identified, baby parents were identified. The parents were confirmed missing. Family went to Courtney's house and realized she and Braydon were also missing. Bodies were discovered, and Lake County also dispatched to notify Dyer County. All 4 victims identified as missing parents, grandmother, and uncle of baby. All 4 died from gunshot wounds. Authorities identify Austin Drummond as the suspect. Almost instantly, a search warrant went out for Austin Drummond. 5 vehicles were seized, according to police. He was captured, and there were also 3 people that were charged after the fact. His associates were arrested, of course, Brandon Powell, on an unrelated charge. Now, we know from the last video that it is alleged that Austin is the one who identified Brandon Powell when they were attempting to get contraband into the prison. So every statement made publicly by Austin Drummond and his associates could all be play against prosecutors. Defense has to build their case as well. So this was just a public comment that was made about the recording that has gone out of Austin Drummond. But let me know, what are your thoughts in the comments? Now, I do want to play Austin Drummond his most recent court appearance, because in this court appearance, it's where, remember, he mentioned in the recording that he wanted to go ahead and get a speedy trial. So at each court date, he has, some said, interrupted the judge to inquire about a speedy trial. So listen to this and tell me, what are your thoughts?
I have, Judge. We would like to waive the 14-day requirement and we set this scope for there.
Roughly what I want to do. If you would have this, just put as attorney on this forms to show that he's waiving the 14-day rule for our records. And I just believe I heard you say request a preliminary hearing. Is that right? That the parties come up with a date.
We were looking at that earlier. We're about this question.
General Goodman. We got set a date. Well, being that this is a very unique case, I think that this may require a special setting, which goes to, on a day that's not Monday or Thursday, where they usually have my dockets.
Yes, sir.
I guess my question is, how much time are you going to need? How much time are you going to need, General, before we?
Whatever it comes to, he understands, yes. Far away, certainly. He's going to be back home, I think, this weekend. But
that's going to be a circuit court deal between them.
Yes.
I've got a juvenile docket that day, I'm sorry. Is also standard day for a docket, and I know on Friday of that week, I don't have anything on Friday the 29th.
We got the trial scheduled, we got 28th, they go into the 29th.
That's what I didn't suggest that.
Well, what about?
That's something before.
That's one of my usual days. I have a general sessions docket. If everybody's okay, I can set it that afternoon.
Well, that's what I was going to do.
Yes, sir.
Then after lunch.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's do that then. Mr. Drummond, good morning. I am going to continue your case to September the 4th at 9 o'clock. Sir?
Question. I was under the impression that it was 14 days for the preliminary hearing.
Well,
Is that not?
I had discussed that with him, and I told him that we would be waiting for the 14-day rule, but not the 30-day rule.
okay. Mr. Huffman indicates he spoke with you, sir, about the 14-day rule being waived, but not the 30-day rule. So you are entitled to have a preliminary hearing now within 30 days. Your attorney is waiving your 14-day waiver. So we're going to have the preliminary hearing to give him time to prepare to represent you in that case. So your case is going to be continued to the 4th of September, and we're going to set that. And how about at 1 o'clock that day, guys? Is everybody good with that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. General, is the state comfortable with that time? Okay. Is the state agreeable to setting?
Yes, that's fine. Whatever we need to do. I can't do it. Well, we can do separate hearings.
I'm fine to do that, seeing that they're charging accessory after the fact. I don't mind to do that. Court will continue the matter in Mr. Drummond's cases to Thursday, September the 4th at 1 o'clock p.m. here in this courtroom. Mr. Drummond to keep in contact with his attorney as well as the previous conditions that the court had entered. regarding this matter.
I do have one question about that. The restraining order thinks about any family members of victims. His girlfriend is one of the family members, and family's indicated that Mr. Drummond's family's indicated that she'd like to have some contact, at least talk about contact. I don't know how the court did it.
Your Honor, we're asking for a restraining order that includes her as well.
She's already included in
Right, and we're asking that that continue.
Well, without having heard any testimony or any proof, or having heard from that family member themselves, I don't feel comfortable amending any restraining order without there being some type of proof or some type of testimony to show that I should do that. So I'm going to continue to have the restraining order remain in place, and that will include all family members until further hearings at that time.
Yeah.
So we'll continue for that purpose then. Okay. All right, Mr. Drummond, your case is continued to September 1 o'clock. Keep in contact with your attorney, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have before the court.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Okay, so you just heard Austin Drummond in court. Now, the significance there is that Austin did inquire with the judge about a speedy trial, and he did direct Austin to speak with his attorney. Now, his attorney did say that they've been having discussion. Now, in addition to this, immediately after this court hearing, a lot of people were saying that Caitlin wants to be in contact with Austin, but it was Austin's attorney who inquired with the judge, and the judge said that he's not inclined to lift that order of protection currently out there because he hasn't heard from Caitlin. Now, at the date of this recording, it doesn't appear that Caitlin has spoken out, and Austin still cannot have contact with Caitlin. So following this hearing, they caught up with his attorney to inquire with him about Austin and Caitlin's relationship. So listen to this news clip, and then we'll get into the co-defendants, their court appearance.
And so, of course, it's early on in the case, so we've got to really kind of investigate all the information that I've received from the DA. Of course, a lot of information is going to continue to come in. So the case is going to evolve. Not exactly sure where it's going to go, but it's going to be a long case.
Also, Drummond asked about his girlfriend and the restraining order. You entered that in.
Right.
So is that to do with him wanting to speak to Caitlin, or?
Yeah, that's his girlfriend, and the restraining order is a blanket order restricting him from talking to basically anybody who's related to that family, and of course she is. So talking to the judge, he wants to hear a little bit more information about everything, and of course if she wants to speak with him, she's going to need to go talk to the judge and tell him that she wants the restraining order lifted, at least as to her.
Yeah, I understand. And then, do you know if she's concerned about the pregnancy? Is she wanted to talk to Drummond about that, Austin, about that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure on the details of that, but
okay, great. And then also, do you have any more information just in regards to like how he's doing? I know he did ask twice now for a speedy trial.
Right. With the speedy trial, obviously we want to take the trial as fast as possible, but we certainly want to be ready. So we want to thoroughly investigate the case to be able to be prepared to defend the case. He's holding up pretty well under the circumstances. Of course, they're keeping him separate, for obvious reasons, especially because it's a capital case.
And tell me again where he's being held.
He's obviously we're in Lake County today, but he's being held in Obion County.
Obion County.
Yeah.
Case. Following Drummond's court appearance, 2 of the 4 people accused of helping him avoid arrest were also in court. Dyer Sanders and Brandon Powell were back in front of a judge that was...
Ms. Sanders, good morning, ma'am. Okay, Mrs. Cash is here. Good morning again. Okay, Mrs. Cash, I believe we are now going to set Ms. Sanders for preliminary hearing. Is that correct?
We are.
Okay. Now, is there any other announcements that need to be taken up in her matter?
Yes, Your Honor, and I don't think the speaking states and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they are not pursuing the source hearing for the bond. Also, I believe we are in agreement to reduce the bond to $25,000.
That's correct. If you will do this for me. I appreciate you submitting a motion. It appears though it is going to be a consent order on that. If you could just grant a consent order for our file to be placed in, I'm sorry, for it to be placed in our file for the record. I'm going to show that the bond in this case, based on a consent motion that appears between the state of Tennessee and the defendant, the source hearing order is rescinded and lifted. She will be able to post her bond in this matter. In addition to that, based on an agreement between the state and the defense, the bond is reduced to $25,000. And Ms. Sanders, I do want to tell you, while we are doing that, we are also going to continue your case for a preliminary hearing. And I believe we agreed September the 12th at 10 a.m. That's going to be a Friday morning. And you'll need to be here that day with your attorney ready to go in your case. Now, I want to remind you that you do have conditions on your bond that apply to you still, ma'am. Those conditions being that you must keep in contact with your attorney. You can have no contact with Austin Drummond, nor may you have any contact with any of the family members of Adriana Williams, Matthew Wilson, Braydon Williams, and Cortney Rose, or the minor child with initials WW. These cases are continued for a preliminary hearing on the 12th of September, and her bond is going to be reduced to $25,000. Ms. Cash, if you will give me an order, I'll be happy to do it. Okay?
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good morning. You need to get at 10 o'clock on the 12th?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Then we'll bring them over and I'll make them aware of that, but we'll tentatively schedule the 12th at 10 o'clock for Mr. Sanders and Mr. Brown. Mr. Tracy, do you have a date?
So the dates that I have clear, I could do afternoon of September 2nd. I know that's a regular circuit date in Dyer County. I could do after the September. Friday.
We are eliminating the notion of lawyers not working on Friday, it sounds like. So that's a good.
Well, my schedule's a little.
But that'd be fine with the second.
That's a Tuesday afternoon, is that right, guys?
Yes.
Mr. Creasy, how about 1 o'clock on September the 2nd?
That'd be fine.
The camera is not on at the jail. Okay, never mind. He's just not on mine. That's okay. He can see me though on the other. Mr. Powell, good morning, sir. Okay. Mr. Creasy, we have discussed a date for September the 2nd at 1 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Powell, they're going to set your preliminary hearing for the afternoon of September the 2nd. I'll come down.
Mr. Powell, what I'm going to do is today we're setting your cases for preliminary hearing. Mr. Creasy, in regards to any time limits,
I don't think the time limits apply. He's currently incarcerated out of Bronson County. He doesn't have a bond there, so this is not the case.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure of that before we set him out. Mr. Powell, I'm going to continue your cases to September the 2nd at 1 o'clock p.m. It'll be here in this courtroom. You'll be brought over for that, sir. We will be taking you up that day and time, okay? While you are incarcerated, though, if you were to make your bond conditions will remain the same. You must keep in contact with your attorney, Mr. Creasy. You can have no contact with Austin Drummond's. You cannot return to Northwest Correctional Facility in Timothyville, Tennessee, okay? Yes, sir.
Has my bond been loaded?
I'm sorry?
Has my bond been loaded?
No.
We'll take up that issue on September the 2nd, Mr. Powell. I'll follow motion. The other issue, if there was a restraining order on Mr. Powell that restrained him from being around certain people that he's not even accused of.
I think that was entered in order. That was entered in error by the court. I think that.
Yes, it was. We did not ask for restraining.
Yeah. So if there is any order that's down, I'm going to rescind that because it does not apply to cases involving victims in the Drummond matter. So I will rescind that in regards to any of the Drummond. So that case is set for preliminary hearing. Show this is rescinded in today's date regarding this restraining order. Mr. Creasy, we'll get him back here then. Okay?
That's all I have.
Yes, sir. Mr. Powell, thank you.